my friend Siobhan Fitzpatrick from Northern Ireland. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Early Years and has been in post since 1989. In her role as Chief Executive Officer, Siobhan has responsibility for policy and strategic development, relationship with the Interdepartment Group on Early Years, child care partnership, and preschool education advisory groups. But she has been a relentless, advocate for children, and her mission has always been to raise the voices of children and to achieve social justice so that children live in sustainable harmony and peace. She received a distinguished award from Her Majesty, the Queen of England, in 2010. Siobhan?
I'm delighted to be here to share a little bit about the journey we in Northern Ireland have embarked on since our peace process, and also to share with you some of the work that we're doing internationally through the International Network on Peace Building with Young Children and through the Peace Consortium that was launched here last year. So I want to give you a little bit of the context to our work, some of the programme development and the body of research, and then some of the international developments. My organisation was born just a few short years before this recent conflict in Ireland in 1965. So its history and its value base has been shaped by that history of conflict. And right from the very beginning, and echoing what Christian said earlier on, the commitment of the organisation during the conflict was to create safe spaces for children and families and communities. Safe places where children could play together, learn together, and also importantly, where parents could come together from across the sectarian and political divide to have an opportunity for their young children and for themselves to experience peaceful environments. It's a very important month, this month, for us in Ireland, because it marks 20 years since the ceasefires. 1st of September, the IRA ceasefire, 14th of September 1994, the combined loyalist military command. And also at that time, a marvellous injection by the European Union into building the peace, a special support programme for peace and reconciliation. We were delighted but not surprised that the European Union decided that one way to help build the peace was to invest in young children, and they created our organisation as that conduit. And I remember at the time there was much debate. Why do this? Why not spend the money on economic development, on jobs, on infrastructure, on building the economy? But there was a real belief in the European Union that we really had an opportunity to grow a new generation by investing in young children and their families. And just 5 short years after the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, we were able to prove the importance of this investment when we commissioned a piece of research carried out by Professor Paul Connolly from Queen's, titled "Too Young to Notice?" Because the prevailing view then, 10 years ago, was young children do not understand the sectarian conflict that is around us. But this piece of research showed us that children as young as 3, even within the context of the Good Friday Agreement and the peace settlements, were developing sectarian and prejudicial attitudes to others who were different. So this for us was a call for action. We realised that it wasn't enough to continue doing what we had done, creating high quality early childhood services. We needed to be much more intentional if we really wanted to shift the dialogue and create opportunities for young children to learn respectful attitude to others, and to deal with, as the Ambassador said earlier on, the inner issues of prejudice and fear of other. So in 2003 we developed an intentional new programme combining a range of strategies, focusing on a much more explicit curriculum dealing with the issues that divided us in Northern Ireland. Up until that, our national preschool curriculum said a lot about differences around the world, but said absolutely nothing about our context, our experience, our history, the issues that were dividing us. So a new curriculum, a new set of resources with a particular focus on persona dolls for young children to have voice about the differences in the community around them. And the aim of that was to give children an opportunity to be free to actually be explicit about the issues and fears and understanding that they had. A focus, as Jim said, on supporting parents to work with teachers in preschool environments, but also to carry out some of this respecting difference work in the home environment. And very importantly, a focus on the media, using promotional campaigns, highlighting the issues that were affecting young children, and using this programme as an advocacy platform to change policies and change strategies. The work was innovative at the time, and we were conscious that we didn't want to do anything that would further exacerbate the differences within the community, so it had to be backed up by robust research. We now have 10 years of really robust research looking at the changes in the attitudes of children, teachers, parents and the broader community. And we can say that this approach is working in a Northern Ireland context. And we have used the robust evidence to influence new government policies in terms of the shared future and the shared education agenda, reinforcing the importance of investing early and investing appropriately if we want to change the dialogue, to change the experience. Because in Ireland, every generation we've had a war, and we really feel that if we want to change that history, we really need the evidence about this way of working as a really transformative approach to building and maintaining peace. At the same time, we began to develop a network with our colleagues across the world in conflict-affected regions, colleagues from Colombia, Palestine and Israel, the Balkans. And we're using some of the learning that we've had in Northern Ireland to help support those regions also develop culturally appropriate approaches to early childhood development. We're delighted, again with the support of the European Union, that in the Balkans at the moment they're piloting a similar intervention that we have developed in Northern Ireland and evaluating its impact on children, teachers and parents. And I too will leave you with a quote from our Nobel laureate, unfortunately who is no longer with us, Seamus Heaney, who at the time of the Good Friday Agreement wrote a beautiful poem called Hope and History Rhyme. And I use this to encourage our friends who, when it seems as if it's impossible, especially what we have seen this summer from Gaza, from Syria, in Iraq, and it's called The Cure of Troy. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a further shore is reachable from this place. believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. And we believe in Northern Ireland that we can hold that hope, that for this generation of children and their parents and grandparents, the future will be a hopeful future. Thank you very much.